All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. I am on the main iCEV website, www.icevonline.com. You can do a lot of things from this particular page. Check out what curriculum we do offer. We are CTE exclusive. We only do career and technical education. You can also take a look at our industry certifications that we offer as well, and we'll discuss a few of those in another session. But let's just log in. Top right-hand corner will be a little green lock and key, and we'll just click that button and it'll take us to that login page. So this is your My iCEV portal. You can log in a few different ways. If your school has Clever or ClassLink, you can sign in with that. You can also sign in with Google. We're going to go just directly into the iCEV site to get started. I do manage, like I said, these Corn Belt states. So let's go ahead and jump on into my Missouri account, where you can tell that I have been very busy. As you notice, it does say hello to me. Welcome, Missouri, John. And it also gives me a little bit of an announcement. So if there's something very important happening in the world of iCEV or CTE, we're going to make sure that you know that as soon as you log in. So this is prompting you to go to our professional development link here. But as we scroll down, you can tell that I've created a lot of courses inside of my portal. If you are brand new to iCEV, you won't have any courses created yet. You'll have to create some, and we're going to do that here today. But the reason I wanted to show you this first is because most everyone is familiar with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, subscription-based services. So whenever you have a subscription, that's going to allow you to come in and Netflix and watch anything that you want, same as Hulu and so on. Same deal with iCEV. It's a subscription-based service. So you can come in and create any of these courses that you want, add any of the lessons that you want, and watch whatever that you want to watch. So you have access to that inside of the teacher account. As I come in and I create a new course, especially for those that have never done this before, that button will be dead center whenever you first log in, but if you've already created something, it's off to the upper right hand. Let's click on that so we can create a new course. Now we do make this easy for you, and we provide 5 steps to get you started. Let me walk through those for you now. As you can tell, there are a few courses that we've preloaded down here to make things a little bit easier. You can create one from scratch using the create a custom course function, but we're not going to use that one today. Now, I have agriculture popping up first because I did teach some agriculture courses, but I also have ACTM down here as well. I'm going to click on this, and it's going to pull open all of those preloaded courses for ACTM or Tech Ed. Let's go ahead and create something that probably a lot of shop teachers or Tech Ed teachers have as an option for their course, and that's construction technology. So this is now green. I've checked it that I want to add this in, and I can title it whatever I want. We can call it Construction Tech, Construction Principles, First Hour Construction Technology, First Block, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and do just First Hour Construction Technology 1. So it's green. We have our name. Now I can click Add Course, and it puts it into a queue. So now that one's ready to go, but we want to make sure that we add as many courses as we can if you're getting started. A lot of other teachers also teach welding, so let's go ahead and add that one in. Now there's a lot to choose from down here. We have everything from small engine tech, transportation and logistics, manufacturing, diesel equipment, a lot of different content here. So feel free to explore as you start creating things. And there's also a certification tab as well, where we are a platform that hosts industry based certifications. And so that's where you would find those. So 2 different tabs, and we've just been pulling from the course playlist. So right there, we're going to go ahead and add this course in. We've got 2 courses ready to go. Let's go ahead and click Finished so we can put them onto the My Course page. So we're back at the My Course page. And if I scroll down to the bottom, there they are. First Hour Construction Technology 1 and Welding 1. Now, I've done this a couple of times today, so you see a few duplicates here. Now, let's say that you want to move these lessons into the order that they actually appear as students come into your classroom. So First Hour Construction Technology 1, obviously we want that at the top. Let's say that you want to do welding as your second hour, so on and so forth. So you can move these courses in whatever fashion you'd like for them to appear. Let's go ahead and dive into that first hour Construction Technology 1 class. Here you can see that we have a lot of lessons inside of this course pre-built for you. Everything from shop safety to tool identification to concrete and masonry, and then the installation series, which is where we build a house from the ground up. Everything from the foundation and subflooring to the drywall, windows, roofing, electrical, plumbing, stairs. I mean, quite a bit that we have here. But I don't see anything for, say, HVAC. Well, if I want to pull open HVAC lessons into this course, here's how I do that. At the very top, and remember, solid green buttons are action items in iCEV. We have this long green button here called Customize this course. As I click on it, we can see that those lessons are now on the right-hand side, and our iCEV database is on the left-hand side. And so we can move lessons from right to left or left from right as we need to. So for example, let's say that I want to teach shop safety. And I want to teach welding shop safety first because we have a lot of welding equipment in the shop. It's not just woods. So I want to make sure that we do welding shop safety because it covers everything in the shop. So we'll go ahead and pull that up to the top because I want to teach that lesson first. Now let's say that I don't want to teach wood power tool ID for whatever reason. I can go ahead and click remove, and it doesn't permanently delete these lessons. What it does is it's kicking it over to the left-hand side into your massive iCEV database. Now remember, you've got 55,000 minutes of edited video content inside of this system. You also have a tremendous amount of PowerPoint presentation content. So this is a lot of content over here on the left. So I've taught you how to move things around or remove things over to the left. Now let me teach you how to move things into the course playlist. Two ways to search for lessons. The first way is using this very flashy keyword or search by title function. The second way is to browse by subject. So as I mentioned, we might want to add some HVAC content into this construction playlist. So let me just go ahead and select HVAC. Click go. Again, green is action items. And voila, we have a tremendous amount of HVAC lesson content available. Everything from basic tools, careers in the HVAC industry, the refrigeration cycle. And as you can tell, we do have two particular lessons that are brand new items. So what does new item mean? If it has that tag, it has been created within the past 12 months. So we have two brand new lessons that have been added within the last 12 months or created within the last 12 months available to us. So if I want to preview those lessons, I can click preview. And we have in front of us that video content. So we can get a taste if we want to add it over to the playlist before we even add it in. Let's take a look at what this video content looks like. And I'm going to skip around for the sake of time because we do have a lot to cover today. So it looks like we got some good B-roll here. We're going over some terms like respiratory protection, confined space entry. And of course, it looks like we've got our expert here who's going to be discussing all the various components that we need. So we do film and put that camera in front of experts who are out there in the field, in the industry, and or have an education background at the higher level, post-secondary. And those are the types of experts that we film here at iCEV. This is broken down into multiple areas, including hand tools, refrigeration, electrical, and so on. So it's broken down into bite-sized chunks. We'll discuss that a little bit more in topic 2 as we explore the lesson. So this looks like a good lesson to add into this course. Let's go ahead and click that add button. We can tell that it's no longer there because It's over here at the bottom. And then we can put this wherever we'd like to by dragging and dropping. So that's how you search by keyword. Now you can search by subject. So I'm going to click clear results, cleared it out. And now I can browse by subject if I want to search this way. And I like this function as a teacher because if I'm looking for materials for business or agriculture, it gives me the CTE subject area and then that subcluster. So if we're in animal science, we've got a pile of different varieties: beef, equine, poultry, those types of things. But as we scroll down, we've got family, consumer science, business, and of course, careers and ACTM. So if I'm looking just for a specific type of welding lesson, say stick welding goes by many different terms. The keyword search might not pick up on every single one of those keyword search functions or search phrases, but this search by subject function will allow you to pick which specific welding area you want to take a look at. So for example, let's take a look at just oxy-fuel. So I pull that up and voila, we have, it looks like we're building a gooseneck trailer. It's pretty fantastic. We also have some oxy-fuel welding safety introduction, oxy-fuel cutting, setup and safety, welding and brazing. So it looks like we've got just enough content to really get in and dive deep on those oxy-fuel systems. Click Finished whenever you're done customizing your course. So as I scroll back down, what I want to do is just take that construction technology 1 class and take a look at some of those lessons. So we're done with topic 1. We've learned how to create a course. We've learned about the different types of courses that we offer for ACTM, how to customize them, add lessons in. So let's get into topic number 2, which is the lesson layout. It's important to know that every lesson in iCEV is designed exactly the same way. And that's great because if you have multiple teachers in a school that teach CTE, they have some consistency as they move from CTE class to CTE class, as well as inside of your own classroom as well. So if you're teaching multiple subject areas with iCEV, the lessons always look the same. And these lessons are also independent of each other. So let's take a look at something that I'm very familiar with: installation framing. I love woods, I love construction tech, love welding. So let's jump on in here to this installation framing. And I think that every ACTM teacher here today is probably somewhat familiar with the parts of a wall. Again, here's your lesson title, installation framing, lesson plan in the top right-hand corner, and then the star of the show, dead front and center. That's your video content or your PowerPoint presentation content. Let's go ahead and play this film and take a look at what's being offered. So it looks like Randy Husk is leading this particular video. He does a fantastic job outside of Houston, Texas, with a group of students. They built a house from the ground up, as I mentioned earlier. That's what this installation series is. At the end of that education cycle, they take that house that they created and they donate it to the Habitat for Humanities. A really cool program that Randy's got going on. As you can tell, this is just a quick little introduction. Good high quality video coming in at HD, which is 1080p. And then we have the other videos. So for example, lumber basics. 10 minutes, we're going to talk about the various grades of lumber, different types, why do we use pine, Doug fir, versus some other different types of wood, so on and so forth. Tools and materials that are going to be needed for this particular project. So obviously we need a tape, we need our squares, nails, so on and so forth. Then even estimating, if we don't have a very strong, currently, if you don't have a very strong, math integration into your courses that you teach. We do a lot of math here at iCEV. Here we are definitely going through and we are pricing out. So we're going to be discussing the different parts of the wall while we're pricing things out and figuring out our total materials and our costs. And then video 5, framing member buildup. So again, another 10-minute video here where we are going to be discussing the different parts of the wall. And our graphics team does a great job of overlaying that information for your students. And Randy does a good job of bringing in these different pieces of, model wood. So before the students even step out into the shop, they have a great understanding of what they should be doing. And of course, video 6, where they're actually getting out there and getting their hands dirty. I did see a chat come in from Tanya. These are topics I could use currently in my home remodeling. Absolutely. If you're a person who likes to spend a little bit of time working at the house, I think that these videos are great. If you have access to the family consumer science side of things, culinary arts, I love watching those videos because I'm a person who loves to cook. These videos are super high quality. And what I love is that you're bringing additional educators into the classroom. You're bringing real content experts, and the students aren't just listening to you. You have a different perspective, sort of backing up what you've already been saying, of course, as the teacher. And so I think this is a good example of the video quality that we offer. Now, this is just half the battle. Obviously, presentations are hard to find, hard to develop. If you've ever created a PowerPoint presentation, it takes a very long time. But again, that's just half of your responsibilities as a teacher, is finding good quality presentation content. The other half is planning and assessment. So just below the video, you have 2 different drop downs. Instructional materials, which is consisting of a tremendous amount of printable content, whether that's rubrics, activities, projects, student handouts, or of course, student note worksheets. So if I pull open the student note worksheets, you could print this out, hand it to your students as they watch the video, or provide it for homework. If you believe in putting pen to paper, and many teachers do, I definitely do, you can do that. They have student note worksheets here, and this is all chronologically listed. So these questions are going to appear as the information is being covered in the video. We're not going to put this out of order. It appears in order, so it's easy for your students to watch, read, fill in the blank, and follow along. We also have, so for example, gable roof with vent opening. This is an example of a student handout with real pictures of these vent openings on the gable. And of course, activities. Let's take a look at something that we saw just a moment ago, which was the framing and roofing identification, where we were looking at the parts of a wall. So again, this is the printable content. Now, a lot of people love printables. You print them out, students work in class, but with the climate that we found ourselves in with last semester being virtual and having to do things from a distance, we put a lot of emphasis on interactive materials. So while this is a printable activity, there is an interactive version of this activity available in iCEV. So you can teach 2 different ways. You can do printables, or you can do interactive, or you can do both as well. So let's take a look at the interactive version of that framing and roofing identification sheet that we just looked at, where they would be identifying the different parts of the wall and the roof. So we have a lot of interactive, automatically graded materials here, including vocab, student note worksheets, pricing, roof framing terminology. But let's take a look at that framing and roofing ID piece that we just looked at on the printable side. So this is the interactive side. And again, students can use this on their laptop, desktop, their Chromebooks. That's obviously a big one. Tablets as well. Love the tablet functionality that we have. And even their cell phones or their smartphones. They can do those on their smartphones as well. Why? because all they have to do is click the correct option. So A, we have obviously the corner. B, it's a Christmas present. That one's real easy. That's the stud. And then we also have option 3 here, which is classified as C. So C, let's get that one wrong. I want to show everyone what the immediate feedback looks like. Let's call this the double top plate. It's not, it's actually the T, but we're going to call it the double top plate to get one wrong. As we move through this assignment, there were 22 questions, some on parts of the wall, some on parts of the roof. We'll click finish. And the computer is going to tell the students, hey kid, you have 19 questions that are unattempted. This is great because if a student's quickly going through or even carefully going through, they might have accidentally not answered one. And this will make sure that they know which ones it is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click yes anyway, just because I want to show you what happens whenever you get 2 right, 1 wrong, and you unanswer 19. Here we go. We've got a little bit of analytics. Total score out of 22, I got 2 right. Again, missed 1, didn't get 19, total percentage of 9. Item 1 we got right. Again, that's the corner. We've got a nice little green checkbox listed there to show that we got it correct, and it's green and has a checkbox. So even if students are colorblind and they can't see the green, we do have, if they get it wrong, an X. So the students know whether it's the 0 out of 1 or the red X that they got it wrong. Now, we did give the students the correct answer. And as I said earlier, that's the T, not the double top plate. Item number 4, we didn't answer, and they got the correct answers here too as we move down. You can turn correct answers on and off. You can turn the amount of attempts up to however many that you want, 10 attempts, 5 attempts, 3 attempts, unlimited attempts, so on and so forth. You don't have to take this for a grade. You can allow them just to practice with it. And let me show you how to do all of that. I'm going to go back out of the assignment to the lesson. So I'm going to follow my timeline here from this to this. And pull open the interactive materials once again. And now we can see all of these checkboxes in front of us. So I was underneath the framing and roofing identification assignment. Let's say that since this is a lower level identification assignment, low on Bloom's taxonomy, and we all know in order to get low level Bloom's things down in our long-term memory, we need to do them over and over again. Multiple attempts, right? So let's click, I don't know, 10 attempts. It's blank right now, which means that it's set to unlimited, but let's put it up to 10. If we don't want them to have the correct answers once they take it, we can uncheck show details. So again, that's important. I'm going to repeat it. If you uncheck show details, they're not going to have the correct answers after they take it. That's great if you're doing vocab or ID, something like that. If you do want them to have the correct answers, just leave that on. And let's say that you don't want it to show up on a course grade report for whatever reason. Take vocabulary, for example. Everyone knows what Kahoot is. Kahoot's really a great tool for vocabulary. And I think that if you want students to practice in iCEV, all of their terms, that's great. But maybe you don't want to take it for a grade, the vocab assignment in iCEV. You can just uncheck show on grade report. They can still do it. It's just not going to show up on the grade book in Google Classroom and here in iCEV. If you check it, it's going to show up on the grade book. Now, let's say you don't want to do vocab at all. Students are just, maybe a little vocab out. You can also uncheck visible to students. They won't see it at all. It completely disappears from their view. So all of these columns are very self-explanatory, easy to use. Visible to students, they can see it. Show details, it's correct answers. Deactivate on date, the assignment will deactivate on that date. Show on grade report, it'll either show up or it won't. And of course, share with Google Classroom is our newest column. If you click this button, it will take this assignment and directly put it into Google Classroom for you. So you don't have to copy and paste the hyperlink. It'll go ahead and put it there. In order to get these two things to sync, all you have to do is click on the assignment, put in your, and you only have to do this once. You put in your school-based email where all of your Google Classroom courses are, click Next, approve iCEV to make changes, and then you would post it like any other assignment. Put the date, put the time, some instructions, and voila, it immediately goes directly into your Google Classroom. Very easy to use. Now, there are some other things in this lesson layout that are fun hidden gems. We've talked about the star of the show, the presentation content, the video or the PowerPoint, the printable or instructional materials, or the automatically graded or the interactive materials in these two dropdowns. Just above the video, there's a hidden gem called career interviews. This is where we took 800 people in CTE and we asked them all the same 5 questions. What skills do you need for this job? What's the best part about your job? What are some challenges that you face in your job? What's some advice that you would pass along to students who might have an interest in the career field that they're in? And so these career interviews, if you click on them, will pull open those particular career interviews. So if you're having trouble bringing guest speakers into your classroom because you're having trouble finding people who can connect with you virtually, this is a great way to expose them to a vast number of careers out there. Also, the lesson plan. Let's take a look at it really quick just to wrap up topic number 2. Again, you're going to see exactly what type of lesson this is. So this is a video lesson, 85 minutes of video content. Your terminal performance objective or your leading goal. I've heard it said both ways. A quick description, your learning objectives, and of course, your standards alignment. Now, if you're in Texas, of course, this is going to be TEKS, T-E-K-S. If you're in states out east or in the Midwest, like where I am, it's going to be mostly Common Core. Or if you are in, say, Alabama, something's a little bit more specialized because they're not quite on Common Core anymore. So from that standpoint, all of those state standards or national standards that your state is using, we're going to have those available here in that lesson plan. As we scroll down, we at iCEV don't give you a breakdown minute by minute of how you should be teaching this lesson. We know that every classroom is structured a little bit differently. Instead, what we do is we give you a general outline of how these how these videos should be used with the assessments provided. So for example, class 1, begin the class by passing out installation, framing vocab handout, and the worksheet. Tell them to fill out the worksheet as they watch that very first video. And again, that video is 12 minutes long. And then disseminate the grades of lumber student handout and then show all of those other additional materials as you move to class 2, class 3, and so on. I found that I can move through this fairly quickly. These projects are great, do take time. And of course, that's why we don't give you that minute-to-minute breakdown. This is a general overview of how those videos and those assessments should be using. We're going to quickly talk about CTSOs. So if you're doing Skills USA or if you are an ag teacher teaching shop-based classes, the FFA, you're going to have some CTSO alignments here. So Skills USA, Job Skill Demonstration A, and Demonstration Open. Career Connections, we mentioned those earlier. Those are guest speakers. And then, of course, if you need a little bit of extra content because you ran short on time, you can also access these lesson links as some additional supplementation material to your iCEV content if you have a little extra time on your hands. Let's say that your principal or your administrator is making you fill out descriptions on your school district's lesson plan. You can come in and copy and paste these particular descriptions of the various activities into those lesson plans. So we've made that very easy by providing a description of every single activity that we have. And of course, the projects as well. So this is a nice lesson plan. Some administrators take this direct, but we've made it very easy for you to add whatever you need to add. to your own blueprint. And that wraps up topic number 2. Again, we talked about the presentation, the assessment materials, and of course, planning and a few other hidden gems. And now we're going to move on to topic 3. So we're going to follow our timeline back out of this lesson and back to the course, Construction Tech. So we've looked at what a lesson looks like. We've looked at how to create a course inside of iCEV. That third and final topic, if you remember, is the course control panel, how we can better manage student behavior as well as save yourself a little bit of time. As a former teacher, I was very happy whenever I discovered some of these different tools that are available over on the far right-hand side in that course control panel. Probably the number one thing that we need to discuss is how to invite students into the course so they can do those interactive materials. So let's click on inviting students into this particular class. If you use Google Classroom in your school, this should look very familiar. It's designed to save the teacher time because students register themselves. You don't have to register them. That can be an enormous consumption of time on your part. Instead, it's much easier to allow students to spend just 2 to 3 minutes signing themselves in. And here's how they do that. I'm going to open up this registration tab in a new link, and I've already copied this course code, CEV ANDRE 650. Oops. Here we go. So this is that registration page that we talked about, where we can punch in that code. We can type in the student's name. They don't even have to punch in their email. We're not collecting data here, but I would say that a friendly tip would be to make sure that they use something that they are familiar with for their username. And typically that would be their email. So whatever username is best. I'm going to use student example 6. This looks like what I'm on. I'm going to type in a password. I'm going to be super secure here, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Top-notch security. You can, obviously, whatever the students want to use as their password is fine. Forgot password question. Favorite childhood friend. Everybody needs a best friend named Sam. And then final bit to create your account. So you submit this as a student, and voila, they are now enrolled in that Construction Technology 1 course. They can also save their login information if they need to. So this is what it looks like from the student view. They only have access to 1 class because that's the course code that you provided to them. So if you have a student in multiple classes, say Jimmy is in your welding and your construction tech, he's also going to need that welding course code as well. Just like you can watch and create anything inside of iCEV, the students can watch anything that you give them access to. So let's see what this student has access to as we click on the Construction Technology 1 class. So it looks like they can see every single lesson that we can see. Now, you might not want to do that. So how do we restrict what they can see in iCEV? Let me log out of the student view and get back to the teacher view to show you. I'm going to click log out, log back into my Missouri account. And go back to that course. So underneath settings, you can control the lesson visibility, the PowerPoint visibility, the printables, the assignments, those types of things. You can even archive the course if you only teach something every other year and you just want to clean up your My Course page. A lot of different options here. But if you click on lesson visibility, show settings, you can see why that student was able to see all of the lessons because they are all visible. Now, you might want to hide the lessons because you don't want students to work ahead. I think we all know that very proactive students can work up to 2 weeks to 3 weeks ahead of the material, and we might not want that from a classroom behavior management standpoint. Let's click on Hide All. And now everything is hidden. And we can roll them out as soon as we want, immediately. So if we click on visible to students, it's now immediately available to the kids. Or we can keep it hidden, or we can make it visible on a certain date. So let's say we want this one to be opening tomorrow for them to have access. This will help you plan if you're a person who likes to plan ahead. Also, you have other features here. For example, you can hide all of the printable activities. So if you don't want them to print off the worksheets and you want to give them a copy, you're more than welcome to just go ahead and hide all of those. Let's say that you test every Friday, every other Friday, you have a day that you like to test. You can come in and you can hide all of the PowerPoints and videos so the students cannot see them while they're testing. And then you can just open them back up on Saturday or Monday, whatever works best for you. But that's a fun little feature. Again, on this course control panel, we've talked about how to invite students, a couple of the different settings. Now let's talk about managing your roster in the course grade report. So right here, we can see that we do have one student enrolled in this course, and I've used 4 of my 10 enrollment slots. So I have 3 other students in other courses that I've created. So this tells you how many student slots you have left. If you have students constantly coming to you saying, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, I've forgotten my username, I've forgotten my password, you have the ability to see all of that here inside of the course. And you can also reset their password just by clicking this reset button. And let's say that instead of having that password 1234, we can make it 5678, and that's now their new password. Password successfully reset. You can even move a student from this construction technology to another class. So let's say that for whatever reason, they registered for the wrong class. They're supposed to be in welding. You can move that student to another area. So for example, welding 1. Click move, and they have now been successfully moved to that welding course. You can also look at the grades here in iCEV. If you're pushing this out to Schoology and Canvas with a consumer key shared secret, or if you're pushing it directly to Google Classroom with the Google Classroom button in iCEV, your gradebooks are going to be synced up. Those grades are going to be being put into those gradebooks. But if you want to look at just the iCEV content as it appears in iCEV, click on this course grades report, and you are going to have access to not only all of the students, but any other individual students. So if you have a parent-teacher conference, you can pull open just that one student score. You can look at the last score. If you're doing pre and post assessment data, you can take a look at the first score versus the last score, or versus the highest score. You can also take a look at the percentage of scores or the actual points, and it's called items. And all you need to do is just click View Report, and it pulls open all of those assignments. Now, I don't have any students registered who've been working on the assignments, but that student data would populate here at the bottom. You can even download this report as a CSV or an Excel file, if you will, and put that into, say, Skyward, Infinite Campus, any grading platform that your school is using if it accepts Excel files. And I think that's a great tool, so you're not having to do click, clack, data entry, while you watch TV, Netflix, so on and so forth. Saves you a lot of time once you get familiar with how to do that. And again, if this course grade report, because this is all of your course's grades in front of you, if that's too much, there is another grade report available. Just go to that lesson that you want to pull grades from. So for example, welding shop safety. Student grade report is in the top right-hand corner next to lesson plans. So if you just need one lesson's grades, just go here. Same information, just more compacted. Okay, so we've talked about three great things. First and foremost, how to create and customize a course. Big takeaways from that is follow the 5-step instruction on how to create. You can create courses or certification playlists, and remember how to pull items from the iCEV database. There's a lot of content in the database. Search correctly, use proper keyword searches, or browse by subject, which is probably the easiest method. Topic number 2, the lesson layout. Star of the show is that video or PowerPoint presentation, which is really half the battle. The other half is making sure that you are saving time by using interactive, automatically graded assessments, using the printables that we've provided for you, and there's a lot of them, great quantity and quality of printable activities. And of course, the lesson plans, and even some guest speakers as well. And then third and finally, how to manage that course control panel, whether it's inviting students into the course, managing the roster, creating a final exam in less than 30 minutes. We do workshops all the time where we discuss that closer towards the end of a semester or a trimester. And then also settings on how to better manage classroom behavior.